It happened in slow motion, at least that's how it felt. One minute I was flipping burgers at my own backyard barbecue, laughing with my uncle about fantasy football. The next, I caught a glimpse of my wife and my cousin off to the side. Way too close. Her smile was the kind she used to give only me. His hand, nestled on the small of her back. I didn't want to believe it. Not there. Not in front of my entire family. I told myself I was imagining things, that it couldn't be what it looked like. But it was. And the worst part, she didn't even try to hide it. What do you do when the people who love you the most cut you the deepest? Before that day, I thought I had a pretty solid life. I had a steady job, a roof over our heads, and a wife I truly believed was my soulmate. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. You know, the kind that always shows up to family events arm in arm, smiling like we just got back from a weekend getaway, even if we'd spent it cleaning the garage. But inside, things were different. We hadn't been connecting like we used to. The quiet moments between us grew longer. Her phone always seemed to be turned face down. And the way she'd flinch, just slightly, when I touched her on the shoulder. I noticed. I tried to ignore it, brush it off as stress or exhaustion. But deep down, I knew something had shifted. Still, I loved her. I really did. I thought maybe I just wasn't doing enough. So I started planning more date nights, left little notes in her bag, even offered to go to couples therapy, which she laughed off. Said we were fine. You overthink everything, she'd tell me. God, I wish I hadn't listened. If I'm honest, I always had this nagging insecurity, some silent fear that everything I had could just disappear. Like maybe I didn't deserve something real. I never said it out loud, not even to her, but I clung to what we had with both hands, afraid that if I let go even a little, she'd slip away. And here's the kicker, my cousin Ryan. He was always around. The cool one, loud, confident, single. He'd crack jokes that made her laugh in ways I hadn't heard in months. Sometimes I'd catch them talking in the kitchen, a little too close, whispering like teenagers. I told myself I was being dramatic, possessive even. But love makes you blind, and sometimes it makes you willingly ignore the signs until they punch you in the gut. And that punch, it landed at our family's biggest barbecue of the year. The barbecue was supposed to be my moment to reconnect with her. I thought, maybe if we're surrounded by people we love, it'll remind her of what we have. I spent that whole morning prepping, marinating ribs, cleaning the grill, setting up tables while she barely said a word. She was glued to her phone, occasionally glancing up to ask if we had enough lemonade or paper towels, but no real eye contact, no warmth. When Ryan showed up, late as usual, my stomach twisted, and I hated that it did. He gave me that same cocky half-smile he always did, clapped me on the back like everything was great. He had a six-pack in one hand and, without even saying hello to half the family, made a beeline for her. And the way she lit up when she saw him, it hit me like a brick. I tried to stay present, flipped burgers, talked sports with the uncles, but every few minutes I'd catch her, just barely brushing against Ryan while they talked, whispering, laughing. Not the polite, casual kind of laughter. The kind that meant something. The kind of laughing she hadn't done with me in months. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was looking for something that wasn't there, but it kept happening, and something inside me snapped when I handed Ryan a plate of food, and he casually said, "You really went all out." She said, "This barbecue means a lot to you." She said, why was he having deep conversations with my wife about what mattered to me? Still, I didn't confront her. Not right away. I was scared that voicing it would make it real. As the sun started to dip, music playing low in the background, I stepped inside to grab more ice. And that's when it happened. Right through the kitchen window, I saw them, standing near the side gate, alone. She leaned into him. It wasn't an accident. He didn't move. His hand slid lightly down her arm. She didn't pull away. I froze. My hands clenching the ice bucket so tight the plastic creaked. My heart was pounding, disbelief wrestling with denial. No, no, she wouldn't. Not here, not with him, not now. Part of me wanted to storm out, scream, break something, but another part just wanted to disappear, to evaporate from that backyard and never exist again. I walked out, acting like I hadn't seen anything, trying to breathe. But even then, I was still hoping I'd misunderstood, that I could salvage this. Then came the moment I'll never forget. My niece had brought out sparklers for the kids. Everyone gathered around. Cameras came out, people laughing, lighting the night with little sparks of joy. And there they were, standing beside each other, her hand brushing down his arm like she meant it. My mom glanced over at me with a raised eyebrow, silently asking if I was seeing what she was seeing. My cousin's wife turned away, visibly uncomfortable. That's when I knew this wasn't just in my head. People were starting to notice. Whispers floated through the crowd, shifty glances, the kind that feel like poison. I cracked. I felt my chest cave in on itself. I wasn't even angry yet. I was just broken. I pulled her aside, quietly, away from everyone. There were still kids around, still relatives laughing and sipping drinks. I didn't want to make a scene. "What the hell is going on with you and Ryan?" I asked, every word burning. She didn't deny it. She just looked at me, calm, cold, like a stranger, and that's when she said it, something that still echoes in my head at night. "I'm sorry, but I haven't felt anything for you in a long time." She didn't say she was cheating. She didn't say she loved him. She didn't have to. All I could see was everything I'd built, burning right in front of me. I stood there, stunned. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it hit like a shotgun blast to the chest. "I haven't felt anything for you in a long time." She didn't look away when she said it, didn't flinch. It was like she'd been waiting to let it out, rehearsing the line in her head for weeks, maybe months. And suddenly everything, every night we'd spent in silence, every excuse she gave to work late, every dismissive glance when I tried to connect, all of it made sense. I wanted to scream, to cry, to demand the truth, but nothing came out. All I could whisper back was, "Why him?" She paused, and then said something even worse. "Because he sees me. You stopped seeing me a long time ago." I don't know what hurt more, her betrayal or the fact that deep down I feared she might be right. I had poured so much of myself into providing, into surviving, keeping everything afloat, that maybe I did forget to make her feel seen. But that shouldn't mean this, not this. We had been partners. I thought I was being a good man, the kind of man who stuck around, stayed loyal, built a life with her. But apparently being good wasn't enough. And standing there, just a few steps away from my entire family, our nieces, nephews, her parents, my parents, it all came into terrifying focus. She was leaving me. Not tomorrow. Not in a week after we talked it through. Now, tonight. She said she'd packed a small bag, that she was going with him, and that she didn't want to make a scene. That's when the switch flipped inside me. The heartbreak, the confusion, it all gave way to something else. Clarity. I looked around the backyard one last time. Families laughing, sparklers lighting up the dark, kids chasing bubbles. And her, standing beside the man who used to be like a brother to me. They were leaving together, right in front of everyone. And I just let them walk away. But what she didn't know, what he didn't know, was that this wasn't the end of my story. It was only the beginning. After they left that night, I stood in the middle of the yard, holding a paper plate I never ate off of, and just stared at nothing. People asked if I was okay. I lied and said I had a headache. I told them she had to go home early, but they already knew. You could feel it in the air, the silence that follows shame. The kind of thing no one says out loud, but everyone sees. The next few weeks were hollow. The house felt like a museum of a life that no longer existed. Her toothbrush still in the holder, her perfume lingering in the closet. And Ryan, he didn't even try to hide it. Pictures started surfacing online, him and her out at bars, road trips, smiling like nothing ever happened, like my world hadn't collapsed so theirs could begin. But here's the thing about betrayal. Once it breaks you, it also strips everything down. And in that emptiness I found myself. I stopped mourning the version of us that never truly existed. I started doing the things I'd put off for years, started painting again, something I gave up when we got married. I traveled solo, took road trips without needing permission. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with, trying to keep our perfect marriage intact. And through all that, I learned something I never expected. I wasn't broken. I was just buried. Under expectations, under fear, under this need to be good enough. She didn't leave because I wasn't lovable. She left because she never truly loved herself enough to be loyal to someone who did. And Ryan, I'll admit, for a long time I waited for karma to hit, for the fallout to find them. But now I don't need it. They may have each other, but I have something better. Freedom. Honest, painful, healing freedom. And weirdly, I'm grateful, because sometimes the people who betray you the worst end up setting you free. I've stopped asking why she didn't choose me. Instead, I ask, why did I ever forget to choose myself? And maybe the real question is, what if the worst day of your life is actually the start of your real one?